Hey, I'm Carl Taylor. I'm the founder of Books for Experts, and welcome to my video today, which is going to discuss the commodification of law firms, particularly when it comes to marketing, right? So, if your marketing is not setting you apart, if your legal marketing is making you the same as everybody else, your law firm becomes a commodity. Why would you pay to make yourself into a commodity? It just doesn't make any sense. And yet, so much of legal marketing today is commodifying. It takes very basic things like your practice area, your location, and it transmits those out into a marketplace where we're, as I call it, screaming into the void, right? Or painting with a white crayon or marker. You're not leaving any impact because you're not demonstrating who you are. And the marketer, most what I call sludge legal marketers are happy to take your money to do this, right? Because it's easier for them. Because it's a lot harder to create a unique sales point. So if you just take where you're at, what you practice, you can kind of use that over and over again, like a template. What I do at Books for Experts is I help people become authorities. They're already experts, but I help them become authorities because that's what is going to take you to the next level, right? Not just for human referrals, but AI referrals. The whole key to AIO is authority. And for the last 20 years in legal marketing, we've gotten away from that because it's just very easy to pay more for pay-per-click or to trust SEO. And we've gotten away from creating authority assets like writing books, articles, podcasts, videos. And when we do create things, for the most part, we're saying the same thing as everybody else if we're doing it wrong, right? Here's what we know about this area of the law. But most legal marketing doesn't talk about the why. What is your professional philosophy? Who are you? Because people want to work with people they want who they trust and who they believe actually care, right? And you can't demonstrate that in a billboard very easily, can you? And you certainly can't demonstrate it through a pay-per-click ad where it's this micro ad. And there's always a joke, don't practice door law, right, for law firms. But so many law firms do practice door law, even if they have a niche. You're doing divorce door law, you're doing criminal door law, business door law. You're taking whoever comes in that's in your niche within your practice area. And the marketers, again, there's really good marketers out there, and I created my agency because this is the kind of agency I wanted to have out there when I was building my law firm. Um, but too many agencies just go in for commodification practices. And that's killing us, not just at an individual micro level, but at a macro level, right? Because if you're a commodity, then people don't trust lawyers anymore because it's like, oh, they're all the same. Who cares? They're interchangeable. And did you go to law school to be interchangeable? I don't think so. And yet we allow our law firms to just focus on is the phone ringing and ignoring is it the right person calling on the other side of the line. When you have the right kind of marketing, you're going to make it so much easier for the right people to find you. And that's actually not just better for you, it's better for your clients too, right? Because a lot of times it's not bad clients and good clients, it's aligned clients or misaligned clients. You're what's the cliche? One person's trash is another person's treasure. I guess I shouldn't say this about people, but essentially clients are like that to some extent, right? A client who's misaligned to your firm might be totally aligned to another one. If your whole thing is you really like to walk people through things and educate them, um, there's some clients who want that kind of level of handholding, but there's other attorneys who don't want to get engaged at that level, and they'd be a bad fit. So the more you can kind of figure out what your authority philosophy is, the easier it becomes not just to run your practice, but to bring in the right people, to work with your marketers. But I just, it's disappointing to me that we're at a place here where so many marketers are willing to take your money and not worry at all about making you into something more than you are in terms of the marketplace. To just create this commodification process. It's really it throughout my practice, 16 years as a lawyer here, it really disturbed me in many ways when I would see this. And You'd see these really great attorneys who then market themselves like they're just everybody else. And then they can't charge premium pricing. They're not getting the acclaim they should. And it's almost like those who can afford to shout the loudest are the ones who get the clients because there's unless you're carving out this authority, it's really hard to get found. Now, artificial intelligence is making this so much easier because AI really does take the extra step to look into are you generating books? Are you writing articles? Are you a thought leader? We've given up on thought leadership in our profession to a great extent. And I think that's mainly due to what the last 20 years have looked like with SEO and pay-per-click being so dominant. But now the search engines are fading, now the AIO is not just the future but the present. We're really going to have a return now to the ending of commodification. And the bad side of that for lawyers, of course, and law firms, is that if you don't stand out, you're going to start to fade away entirely. We now live where everyone can hold up their phone and it's going to have everything they need to know on that phone about the law itself, right? The research, the information, the facts. What it can't replicate is your wisdom as an attorney and your philosophy as an attorney. So those are the things you have to start selling. Books for Experts, that's what we do. We help people figure out exactly how to position themselves in the market as to who they actually are and help you align your practice with your values so that you attract the aligned clients and that you attract the right referrals from AI and from humans alike. Here's a thought exercise. Have you ever gone to an attorney's website, maybe even your own? Look at your website and then go to 10 of your competitors. If you didn't know any better, would you think they're any different? Unless you're an outlier here, you would not. They would be mostly the same. 472 and a half combined years of experience. Um, we are aggressive. We have credentials. Well, everyone has credentials, right? Maybe you have better credentials. I don't know. But it's all the same. It's all it's all the same. And why are we creating what's a website? It's a marketing opportunity, right? So why in the hell are we creating a marketing opportunity and letting it sift through our hands here and just saying, oh, we're going to be the same as everybody else? How do you find your tribe doing that? You don't. And it's disappointing because I think as a profession, it's hard for lawyers if we don't see other people standing out and doing things different. It's hard for us to want to do the same because it's kind of a conservative field in terms of you go to law school and you're kind of taught to think a certain way and to proceed a certain way, and then you see somebody coloring outside the lines, and our profession can kind of be a little bit like clutching our pearls. Um, but we forget that, especially in consumer-facing areas of the law, we're really speaking to fellow to humans, well, to fellow real people, right? Not just lawyers, lay people. And if we're going to market to them effectively in divorce law, criminal law, estate planning, and so many other areas, personal injury, then we're going to have to figure out how to communicate to them in a proper way and to demonstrate that we are different and that we are worthy of their case. And if not, they'll just go to LegalZoom or they'll go to ChatGPT and they'll figure it out on their own. And that's what's happening because there's been a lack of faith in our profession. And some of that's self-inflicted, but a lot of it's really marketing inflicted. If you look at how most marketing companies operate, they use a lot of AI agents. So there's nothing really created there that's new. They might outsource things to, different places. A lot of it's really sales and hand holding versus creating real value. They want to take the easiest way out, which is saying, well, play around on your website or build some links, but not actually, help you write books or blog posts that are actually original and engaging and can be turned into books. And what does it all add up to? Commodification. And really, what is commodification if not the opposite of authority? Now, my equation for authority is authority equals expertise plus narrative plus authenticity. Simple enough, right? But in reality, most people think expertise is enough, and if they do a good job, they'll get to where they need to be. But that's not enough for most attorneys today when there is so much marketing and there's so much noise. The key is you have to take your expertise and create a narrative and authenticity around it to show who you are, what you know, and what your philosophy is. If you do those things, then all of a sudden, when people start to look for who's going to be their divorce attorney, who's going to be their personal injury attorney, your name comes to the top of the list. Or maybe if they're the wrong person, they're repelled, and that's fine. Because too much of marketing is short-sighted today. And those who are going to win in the age of AIO are going to have to be really, really um, in tune with the marketplace, not just as it exists presently, but as it's going to exist in the next 1, 3, 5, 10 years. There's a great opportunity here. And so many attorneys that I know are terrified of AI, but it's going to be very easy for those who act now or soon to carve up space here and take some of that market away from the pay-per-click and SEO and do marketing that you're proud of. I mean, that's what's so great about creating authority assets. You can be proud of your articles and your books in a way you can never be proud of a billboard, you know, at least for most people. So at any rate, I hope that this was helpful. I really, for me, I think that the opposite of commodification is humanizing. I think our profession has to humanize itself. I think we've done a poor job of that, at least during the 16 years that I've practiced, and honestly doing more research into it. So I'm writing a book called Humanizing Lawyers in Defense of a Profession That Won't Defend Itself. I found that we've done a poor job in many ways of humanizing our profession, going back decades and centuries in some cases. So it's nothing new, but at the same time, it's something we can kind of course correct now. So if you'd like to learn more, look me up at www.booksforexperts.com. We have all kinds of uh, marketing that will help you stand out in this marketplace. And by stand out, I mean just not only to humans, but also to AI. So have a nice day. Thanks for watching. Take care.